The price for the revelation of the divine within us is overcoming the lower self, the inner swine, as it is properly called by folk wisdom. If you want to grow greater, you must give up that within you what is still small. Man must lose his lower life to find his luminous higher self. This alone sets man above the beast of the field, his power to know God, his power to sacrifice self to self, that the true self may live and reign in eternity. You have to choose between great and small, spirit and matter, the God and the animal within you. The choice is yours, O Son of Man, to reach the highest heights of life and win the crown of immortality and selfless love, or to sink into the depths of the underworld to mourn and lament during long ages. Again and again, someone of good and someone of evil character comes to thee daily and says, "Choose between thy faithful service to the gods of life and the same service to thy lower self." Every moment you have to decide in you, what do you wish to reveal, your higher or your lower nature? No man can serve two masters, as the Bible so truly says. Whatever strengthens the one weakens the other. Every victory of the spirit over the flesh increases. Every yielding decreases the power of the divine within you and in the world. The self of spirit and the self of matter can never meet. One of the twain must disappear. The true and the false are diametrically opposed to each other, and all the energy of all the vast spaces of the universe cannot draw them together. Truth and falsehood cannot unite. Ye cannot serve both God and Mammon. Applied alone to mediums of exchange, to gold and silver, flocks and herds, to lands and houses, Mammon stands for man's possessions only. Yet he who gave it utterance meant a wider range of that which stands for wealth than man now gives to it. Mammon, beast. In truth, the words are all but interchangeable in this age, and if by beast the lower self of man is also meant, it will fitly express that which the great master meant by Mammon. Man cannot serve the beast within himself and serve his higher self, his God, at the same time. Mastering the lower self is a constant battle that breaks out anew every hour, never ends, and inflicts deep wounds. To overcome oneself in this struggle, this is the great heroic deed that a warrior of light has to accomplish in our days. Whom then should one treat especially austerely? Definitely oneself. You must indeed conquer yourself, namely your lower self. Mastery is confirmed by realization of victory over self. Conquering self, the victor will rise. Each victory over oneself will be a true success. Life provides many an opportunity for such victories. Would you please explain this more clearly? Well, you know yourself very well how things go in your daily life. You have resolved to curb your tendency to irritability, to drink no or only a little alcohol, or to eat no or only a few sweets. Then you are offered a glass of wine or a piece of chocolate, or you see the bottle or the bar in the supermarket that you have reached for so often in the past. The body says, I want it. The soul says, I don't want it. Now it really comes to a fight between these two wills. You vacillate back and forth between them. You first pass by and then return. Your intellect gives you plenty of good reasons for both options. Just once doesn't count, it is as good as never. Sometimes you've got to spoil yourself. This will really be the last time. After this, I'll stop, and so on. This is how it goes for all of us, several times a day, in more or less the same way. And who will prevail in the end? The stronger will. The noble brings the beast within us under the control of man, rather under the control of the divine within us. The mean makes the noblest within himself the slave of the lowliest. The noblest part of his soul is weak and cannot master the beasts. It is the advantage of every man to be under the rule of something divine and rational, preferably under the rule of that which he has within himself. These were just a few examples. In fact, there are a myriad of animal traits left that you have to fight and overcome. Desires, weakness, sluggishness, dejection, fear, rudeness, irritability, unkindness, laziness, and so on and so forth. He must daily fight the powers of darkness, the fiends of fear and desperation, the demons of cowardice and hate. Your true pride is the ascent, the gain in power and greatness that every victory over your lower self gives you. Overcome and ascend. The throne of a king of the spirit is founded on the subjugated lower self. It is the monsters that provide the legs for the throne. There is a good reason why sacred objects are depicted as mounted upon animal-like pedestals. If you take up this struggle, you may naturally expect help from above. You who are suffering with this demonical force, take one brave step toward staying its advance, toward rooting its hold, and you will immediately feel the lodge forces pouring in and through you to help you. It will at once be easier for you to take the next step, and so on to the finish. You have no idea how important a matter this is to you. There is no strain, no burden too great for us to help you eliminate, if you will but work with us. But you must make the first effort, must indicate the initial desire. You are caught in the intrigues of the negative side of living, and must jerk yourselves up positively, if you would be free from its grip. It cannot be said clearly enough. You must actually kill the beast in man. God is ever close at hand and ever waiting for the beast in man to die and the angel to be born. When, as is said, the beast in man awakens, precisely then individualization, without any nourishment by the consciousness, turns into a cruel egoism. Then begins a campaign against enlightenment and cooperation. Such egoism does not become a noble realization of personality, but returns to the animal state. There will be found conquerors of the beast. Destroy the beast man. Men with tails and centaurs do not enter into evolution. That sounds brutal, though. Yes, but that is how reality is. You literally have to slay your inner swine. Each neophyte to the great mystery must experience the blind struggle with the demons which bar his way, the annihilation of those piteous, pleading elemental selves, which cry out from the depths of their torture, "Give, give, give." These must not only be met and denied, but slain in cold, passionless deliberation, to make room for the higher, the unselfish self, for the laws of space are inexorable. The whole great purpose of human life is the attainment of mastery, and the first and last enemy to be slain by the accepted disciple of the White Lodge is the personal devil, the force which incites to treachery. The dragon within you is indeed the mortal enemy of your soul. Elevate yourself through the power of yourself, and not degrade yourself, for the self can be the friend and also the enemy of the self. For those who have conquered the self, it is their friend. For those who have failed to do so, the self works like an enemy. Those who have conquered the self rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor. They remain peaceful and steadfast. If you do not kill this enemy, he will kill you, namely your higher self. The demon would slay the higher self, had it the power. A liar, a deceiver, a murderer, a foul epitome of selfishness and lust. Such is that lower self, a tempter of the pilgrims starting out to climb the path of power. It is the world dweller, called by you the disintegrator, a very demon, giving vent to itself in most cowardly manner, in the endeavor to throw you from the higher throne of your spiritual acquisition, obtained through sweat of blood, toil, and labor, in a long sequence of incarnations. No man, no power can lose its hold upon your threshold but yourselves. It must be taken by the throat and throttled by power from within. Little by little, inch by inch, swoop by swoop, it will take possession until your entire being come under its sway, and you will no longer have power to throw it off. This is a battle in which you cannot avoid inflicting pain on yourself. Spirit is flesh that cuts into the flesh. How should I proceed practically